What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back again with the Mariners post-game recap. Before I dive into this crazy game, do me a favor, hit that sub button. If you like my videos, maybe just casually watching, it just helps me out a whole lot. Channel's kind of blown up a little bit for my standards the last couple of weeks. Trying to get to 2,000 subs, that helps me out tremendously. And also hit that like button. That just lets YouTube know you're enjoying the video, and they send the video out to more people. Hopefully, that's the goal. So if you guys can hit the like and sub button for me, I would truly appreciate it. Never easy, is it? Oh my gosh. This Royals team, I swear, I'm more confident facing the Atlanta Braves than I am the Kansas City Royals. I have never seen a team that just is this pesky and refuses to roll over and die. Oh my gosh. And I know the Mariners put up a lot of runs too, but the Mariners a decent ball club. Like Kansas City's really not. But my gosh, they just didn't go away. The Mariners win at 10-8 in 10 innings. There is a lot to unpack in this game. Listen, first and foremost, most importantly, I saw some people on the X saying like that they're not happy with this win and whatnot. This team needs wins, okay? They're two back still. They needed to get back in the winning track after a couple of tough games, 3 games there, and they got to win. That is important. Like, if you want this team to go to the playoffs, then yes, this is a good game. This is a good result. They need wins. We're at the point in the season where there are no more pictures on the scorecards. It doesn't matter how they're doing it. We just need them to find a way to do it. Now, it wasn't the prettiest way to do it, but they did get it done. The Mariners strike for 7 runs in the top of the 4th. The Royals respond with 5 in the bottom of the 5th. The Mariners answer with 1 in the 7th. The Royals, again, refuse to die in the 9th inning, score 3. The Mariners get 2 in the 10th and somehow keep the Royals off the board in the bottom of the 10th inning. Listen, very sloppy in this game, some defensive miscues. In that 5th inning, Rojas and Teo not deciding who could get a pop-up. You probably get out of that inning without giving up a run if they can make that play. In the 9th inning, Rojas with kind of a lazy throw over to Ty France costs him a base runner and ends up leading to a tie game. The pitching was not great either. Let's get into all of it. Let's start with the pitching, and then we'll get into hitting, just kind of the overall aspect of the game. Emerson Hancock, 5 innings, 9 hits, 5 run, 5 earned, no walks, 1 K. Listen, he probably should have been out of that inning before Bobby Witt even came up. But you also, while he should have been, I'm not a believer that pitchers are just off the hook then when an error happens. Like, errors are going to happen behind you. And technically it wasn't an error, but it was an error. You've got to overcome it. I mean, it's Emerson Hancock's second start. I'm not going to harp on him too much here. But you got to find a way to get around it. Like, Felix Hernandez had fielders make errors behind him. He found ways to get out of innings. Not trying to compare Emerson to Felix here. I'm just making the point that, like, while, yes, he should have been out of that inning, he's also got to find a way to get out of it. Some infield hits, too. I thought he was okay. I thought he was okay. I'd like to see some more strikeouts out of him. The velo looked like it was down a little bit. I wonder if the radar gun in KC is a little off because Munoz's velocity was down too. We'll get into the Munoz here in just a minute. But I'd like to see some more swing and miss stuff from Emerson Hancock. Listen, it's why, despite everything here, the Marco injury matters. The Robbie Ray injury matters. I'm not saying that Hancock doesn't have higher potential than Marco. He definitely does. But you miss that veteran presence in there here to make some of these starts. And you obviously miss Robbie Ray. And I don't know if this would have been Robbie Ray's spot. Who knows at this point? But you are missing, you're putting a lot on a young kid's shoulders here with Hancock. You've already put a lot on Brian Wu and Bryce Miller. Now, it's not the Mariners' fault. They've dealt with Marco's injury, Robbie Ray's injury. Chris Flexen went from serviceable to just trash. So it's what they've had to do. It's also why I advocated going out and getting another starter. Like, I know I mentioned the name of Rich Hill a lot. I don't think Rich Hill's amazing, and he might have had that outing as well, but just someone to offset a little bit. I thought Hancock was okay. Not great. Probably a little unlucky to give up 5 runs, but also probably a little lucky that if he had gotten out of it was 0. Gabe Spire did a real nice job in his inning in a third. Topa had a shutout inning, which was 2 outs in the 7th and then an out in the 8th. He got Bobby Witt. He got Garcia in a tough spot. He gave up a couple hits, but they were kind of bloops. Let's get into Andres Munoz. So Munoz, good job in the 8th, came in with 2 on, 1 out, and got out of it. Got Melendez to pop up, and he got, who was it after Melendez? Fermin to ground out. So he did a nice job there. I thought his stuff looked pretty good. there. He did fall behind Fermin 3-1, but got him out. Get to the ninth inning. Now, before I rip Munoz or anything, Rojas has got to make that play. Velasquez led off, grounded out easily to Rojas. It was a tough throw across his body. I'm not going to say it was the easiest throw in the world, but still a throw he's got to make. And it was just kind of a lazy throw. I'm not saying he was being lazy, but the throw itself was kind of lazy. He's got to make that play. He makes that play. The next batter was Waters, popped up, and you're possibly out of this inning. He does walk Taylor. Who's it? Sherman Taylor? Is that how you say it? Samad Taylor, excuse me. That wasn't good. What did Mikel Garcia do? What did Garcia do? Oh, Garcia grounded out. Could have been a double play. The Royals have so much dang speed, though. Taylor beats out like a routine grounder. Rojas was kind of in between whether to toss it to Cobby or to step on the bag. I didn't have a problem with how he played. That's a tough play to make with Taylor running. They're lucky they got Garcia at first with how well he runs. Listen, Bobby Witt's an amazing player, but my gosh, I think you could get Barry Bonds out easier this series. Walks Bobby Witt. Not the end of the world there. I mean, you want to be careful to Witt because the tying run. Michael Massey comes up all over all these pitchers, fouling off everything. Lines a base hit. Salvador Perez gets a base hit. Same thing, fouling off everything. No swing and miss tonight from Munoz. Now, maybe he's exhausted. He has been pitching a lot recently, and I'll get into what happened tonight with how many pitches he threw. But man, just didn't seem to have any swing and miss stuff. Now, the Royals, for as much as they chase, are not a big strikeout team. They're middle of the pack for strikeouts. But Munoz is a pitcher that we've seen so dominant. He can strike out a team that never strikes out, essentially. That's how good we've seen Andres Munoz be in the past. And just, I don't even know if he had a swing and miss. I think Melendez swung and missed once in the 8th inning, and that was it. Other than that, I don't think he had one swing and a miss. I've been a huge defender of Scott Service. I think he has done a nice job with the clubhouse. I think look at Anaheim and what they've got with Phil Nevin over there yelling in the dugout with nobody giving a hoot what that guy has to say. From everything, Scott is a really good guy. I think he's a good manager. I do. You can tell me I'm wrong on that. That's fine. But man, I thought he had a rough 9th inning there. I don't understand how you can leave Andres Munoz out there for 42 pitches. Now, had they lost the game, I'm not going to put that all on Scott. Like, the defense has to make the plays. Munoz got to be better before he got to that many pitches. But man, to leave Munoz out there. Thank God they got, who was it? Blanco out at third, because I think that game would have ended the next batter. I don't see any way they would have gotten Melendez out. I'm sure they would have gone to Saucedo there, but that game was not. That game was going to end in the 9th unless they got that play at third, which they did. But I don't you cannot leave him out there for that long. You can't. I get trying to get a 5-out save. I do. I get it. And listen, Scott's having to readjust. He lost his closer in a trade. He's trying to make some adjustments. You did not have Matt Brash likely available tonight. So you've got to get something going there, with Munoz. And then I get it. You're probably saving Saucedo for Melendez in that case to go lefty. Sometimes, though, you got to throw the lefty-righty stuff out the window. Even at that point with Munoz, if you want the righty-righty so bad, I can't believe I'm saying this, go get Trent Thornton. Like, at least it's a fresh arm, and it's 1 out. He's got to get 1 out. Maybe he can get Perez. Like, do I think Thornton's a great reliever? No. Is he capable of getting Perez out one time? Yes. Too many pitches for Munoz. Can't do that. And I think Scott will learn. I don't think that'll happen again. But now you're probably don't have Munoz for the rest of the series. And man, Munoz has got to figure something out, because I don't know if it's just fatigue or what it is. And like I said, I'll be critical of Scott. I did not like him letting Munoz throw that many pitches, but man, Munoz has got to be better. He's the swing and miss stuff has got to be there. The slider had no bite tonight. It was all fastball. And I do think the radar gun was maybe a little off in Kansas City because Hancock's velocity was down as well, but it looked like Munoz's was down a few ticks there as well. So I don't know. And the defense got to be better. Listen, despite all this, if Rojas makes a routine play, they probably win that game 8-5. So for as much as I'm getting on Munoz, and that's why it's tough, because it's a little bit of everything. Munoz was not good enough. The defense was not good enough. Scott kind of hung him out to dry a little bit there in the 9th inning. It's all of them. So go to the top of the 10th. Caballero's hit by a pitch. Great bunt by Haggerty. Not sure I love bunting there, just with how pesky the Royals have been. But Haggerty gets down a great bunt, almost beats it out. They intentionally walk Julio. That's another reason I'm not big on the bunt. I know Julio hasn't been super clutch, but I also don't like taking the bat out of his hands. Gino has an awful at bat, swings and misses through some meatballs. Thank you, Ty France, who had a great game today, comes through with a 2-run single, gives the Mariners the lead. And how about Taylor Saucedo in the bottom of the 10th, locking it down? How pesky this Royals lineup has been to the Mariners, and he set him down 1-2-3 with the runner at second base. So a great job by Saucedo. I wonder, I'm starting to wonder if you give Topa and Saucedo some ninth inning chances here, because Inspire as well if you want to. I think Matt Brash is fine. I do. I think Brash was just a little bit bad, but last night he wasn't great. The command wasn't great, but the swing and miss is still there. I'm legitimately a little worried about Munoz. I'm not going to lie. Could be nothing. Could be nothing. His next time out, he may be dominant. It's probably going to be a few days before we see that. But, it might be nothing, but he's just not looked nearly as dominant the last few times out. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong on that. He certainly has not been as dominant this year as last. And that still doesn't make him a bad reliever, but I would probably use Munoz right now more when you've got to get 1-2 outs. Him and Matt Brash both. Use them to get that one big out. I'd honestly let Topa and Sauce take some of these 9th, 10th inning and see what happens. We'll see what they can do. So let's get into the good today. The offense, great game. Now, I get it. Jordan Lyles is trash, and the Royals bullpen is even worse. It's funny. I remember when the Mariners played the Nationals, and the Nationals bullpen was ranked really low in everything. But every pitcher they brought out had like a 2 ERA. I'm like, who are the bad pitchers in the Nationals bullpen that are out there? The Royals are exact opposite. They are ranked really low, and their pitchers are coming out with like 9 ERAs, all of them. So there's no question why the Royals bullpen has not been good. It looked like for a while there that Jordan Lyles was kind of going to shut down the M's, but a 7-run 4th inning with 4 home runs. Gino, Ty, Teo, and Josh Rojas with his first Mariners home run. So great to see there. Looking at the box score, Julio was 1 for 5 with a walk, led off the game with a base hit. Gino had the home run. He was 1 for 5 with a walk and an RBI. Ty France, 4 for 6, 3 RBIs. Rough game for Cal, 0 for 5 with a walk. Teoscar Hernandez, 5 for 5, 3 RBIs. I've been saying it for weeks in these post games. If Ty and Teo can get hot, this team's got a chance to do some damage. They absolutely need those two more than anybody else in the lineup right now. Maybe you could throw the dumper in there and Julio too, but Julio's at least been better recently. I mean, love for Julio to be back to last year, but he's still been productive. Ty and Teo have literally not been productive. So to see them playing better ball here the last few weeks is absolutely huge for this Mariners team. I'm sorry if I keep freezing on this. My connection's not very good right now to the internet. Mike Ford was 0 for 2, was hit by a pitch. Canzone 0 for 4 and walked. Kind of rough game for Canzone. He had an at-bat in the 5th with 1st and 3rd, 1 out. Would have been nice to get another. I mean, at the time, 7-0, you're not thinking much of it. But looking back, would have been nice to get a little sac fly or something there to add a run. Cade Marlowe was 0 for 1 in a pinch hit. Nice game by Jose Caballero. Couple doubles, an RBI, hit by a pitch, created some chaos on the bases. That's good Cabby. That's where he does have value. Should he be an everyday player? No, but he's pesky enough when he gets on, and he occasionally can get on. You know what I mean? So, Caballero has a place. He absolutely has a place on this roster. And you can see, and like I said, he just gets on, creates havoc. He stole 3rd. Now, they didn't do anything with that. But a nice game for Caballero. Rojas 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs on the home run. Great to see. Despite that 9th inning play, I actually think his defense has been really solid. It's unfortunate. Then that play with Teo, it looked like Rojas kind of overran it and kind of messed with Teo. At the end of the day, Teo's got to make that catch, But so a couple defensive miscues, make Rojas's game look worse. But he's been pretty hot. I mean, I think he already has more hits than Colton Wong had all season. Probably not, but it certainly feels like that. So good to see they've gotten that upgrade at second base. Listen, they needed a W and they got it. Do not look at this and say, oh, this is terrible. This is terrible. It's baseball. Each game is tough. Any team can beat any team. It's not like in football. And in football, any team can beat any team too. But for the most part, if you're the Chiefs and you're playing, who's going to be terrible this year? Arizona, Houston, something like that, you're going to get the dub. But even there, the Chiefs had to go to overtime to beat the Texans this season. So don't let people tell you like, oh, this is awful. They should have blown them out. Yeah, they should have. They didn't. Okay. But they got to win. There are no more pictures on the scorecards, guys. Maybe in April, I'm a little bit more about this, but they just need W's. They need them however they can get them. Yeah, it stinks that it had to go like this. It stinks that Munoz is probably down now for the rest of the series, but you needed to win it. You absolutely did. And now you've got Castillo and Kirby going the next 2 games. You got your workhorses. You got guys that should be able to take care of this lineup. Kiss of death right there, but we'll see. So it's at least, you shouldn't need too much bullpen. You never know, but you should be in good shape with the 2 starters you have here. I think one of the reasons the Royals are so pesky, first of all, it's actually not a terrible lineup. It's really not. Garcia's an interesting player. Witt's a superstar. Massey's been pesky. His numbers aren't great, but he's played pesky. Sal Perez is still a decent hitter. Melendez is okay. Fermin's been good. Beatty's been good in limited sample size. Velasquez has been good in limited sample size. Waters is okay. Ishbel's okay. And they're super fast and great defenders. So it's really not that bad of a lineup. It's certainly not good necessarily, but I don't think it's that crazy that this has been a pesky lineup. And, they swing at so much stuff. And Goldsmith was talking about that in the broadcast. And sometimes when you play those teams, it goes one or two ways. They either make outs like this, and it's just look at the 10th inning. I mean, they went down 1-2-3 like they had a dinner date to get to. But when they're not doing that and they're just getting the bat and the ball and it's finding holes, they're going to be pesky. They're not going to lay off that tough 3-2 breaking ball. They're fouling it off. Talked about it yesterday with Logan, how much they fouled off. The Padres are a more patient team. They stared at it, and it was called a strike. The Royals are fouling it off. Now, like I said, it can work to your favor because they're just up there swinging. You can get outs quickly. But when they're not doing that, you run into stuff like this. So, yeah, like I said, and listen, I critical of Scott tonight. I did not like leaving Munoz in there that long. I think that's not only not good for a guy like Munoz who's had some surgeries, has missed time this year. I'm still fine with Scott. That's not saying that like, oh my God, get rid of him. I'm just saying it, not my favorite decision there. But it shouldn't have gotten to that point either. So, it also put him in a tough spot. And I don't envy being in that spot. Like, it's easy for me to sit here and go to Trent Thornton, go to Sauce. Well, if you go to those guys and they blow it, it looks even worse for you. So, I do get it, but man, I don't think you can leave Munoz out there for that many pitches. And he clearly didn't have it. It wasn't like he was pumping up the strikeouts and he just had the air and you needed one more out. He was giving up hard. He was giving up hits. He was putting guys on, wasn't getting swing and misses. But you know what? They got the W. Certainly the bullpen, it is missing Paul. And this is someone that liked the trade. I will say you've got a nice upgrade at second base here with Rojas. I think Ken Zone's going to be good. But the bullpen has certainly been a little shaky. Guys, as bullpens will do. That is bullpens. They are up and down for the most part. This bullpen here is probably going to do the same thing. Right after the trade, they were really streaky good for like 10 games. They weren't allowing anything. They've hit a bit of a rough patch. It's going to happen. Even with Paul, there's no guarantee that they didn't hit a bit of a rough patch. It's just something that bullpens year to year go by. You're pitching limited innings. It's going to happen. And for the most part tonight, outside of Munoz, the bullpen was actually really good tonight. Spire was great. Topa was great. And Saucedo did a great job. So it's really just Munoz. And again, if Rojas makes a better throw, you probably would have been okay. So, it's also tough to say there too. So as much as we're going to harp on the bullpen, the bullpen's not just one guy. They actually did a good job today, and wonder how that ninth would have gone had Rojas got the out. So kind of blame to go around all there, but they got a W. Need Teo and Ty to get hot, keep that going. And hopefully Luis can be dominant tomorrow, get this team a win, and get another winning streak going. Yeah, everybody in front of the Mariners pretty much won tonight, except for I think Tampa lost. Listen, you needed a W. Like, don't worry too much about making up games on Toronto right now. You still have 2 more games that you play that they don't. So you're going to have a chance there to make up ground. And then you just need a couple games where they lose and you win. It can happen later. Like, honestly, get me to the last week of the season, 1 game back. That means they've got to make up 1 game over the next 40. Very doable. It was tough. Looked like Philly could beat them tonight, but it is what it is. Hopefully the Eagles, the Phillies get them tomorrow night. So have a great night, everybody. I'm going to get going. got the W, and they needed it. So hopefully that starts a new winning streak. Hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Tuesday night. I will be back tomorrow for the post game. It'll be a little bit later tomorrow night, but I will have it for you guys. Take care. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your night. And as always, go Mariners. Remember to like, comment, and sub. Peace.